every day, everywhere, across New Zealand.
From the smallest town
to the biggest city.
We have the finest tools.
And expert advice.
For any job.
For any person.
Who are we?
Who are we?
Who are we?
We are Nelson,
Hamilton, Pukekohe,
Rangiora.
We are Trade Zone.
We are Trade Zone.
We are Trade Zone.
Trade Zone, proud to bring you Trade Zone Addicted to Fishing.
I'm Nicky Sinden, and since I could hold a handline, I have been addicted to fishing. Whether it's stray lining for snapper, jigging for kingfish, dropping deep for harpooker, or jumping in and going spearfishing, I love it all. Join me each week as I road trip around the country, travelling to both New Zealand's most iconic fishing destinations and stepping off the beaten track to show just how good Kiwi fishing really is. Whether it's a girls' trip, fishing with a local, or riding solo, I am on a constant quest to satisfy my insatiable fishing addiction. Welcome to Trade Zone Addicted to Fishing this week. This is the final episode. Now, over the last 7 years, there has been some amazing catches. We have been to some incredible places, fished with some phenomenal people, and there have been some huge highs and some very low lows. You may remember my friend Amanda here. She's done a handful of episodes with us from over the years, so we've invited her to be part of this very special final episode.
Yes, the final episode, Nikki. How does it feel?
It's weird, to be honest. It's very surreal, and it doesn't feel like this is the end, you know? I don't know when that will feel like that.
Yeah, there's been some amazing catches over the years. I mean, I was lucky enough to be a part of one of them, which was the massive yellowfin tuna.
That was amazing that day, with fishing with Helen, and, you know, like that fish came in and it was almost bigger than you.
Literally it was.
Come to think of it, there's actually quite a few amazing moments from over the years, so I reckon we flip back to some of the best moments when it comes to tuna. The Ahipara Ladies Tournament was a standout day, with the four of us girls trolling red gills, when a 53-kilo yellowfin wolfed down the biggest lure in the spread, my go-to favourite, the RG8 Nathan Special. I thought it was a marlin at first, so when a yellowfin popped up, we all screamed for joy, except we didn't place in the tournament because it was a marlin competition. Nonetheless, it was a surreal day on board the Extreme 795 that will never be forgotten. Who could forget the bluefin? These tasty morsels came in hot with a double hookup, which had us working hard for these fish. The first day trolling, we managed to get an 84 kilo and an 89 kilo bluefin, which was shared with family, friends and sponsors for weeks to come. The following year, my girl Helen and I hit the water, and Helen hooked a phenomenal fish before daybreak. After a 40-minute fight, her 99 kilo bluefin was boated, and it was smiles for miles. Oh my gosh! Oh man, I can taste those tuna still. They were just so mouth-watering.
They were delicious.
Yeah.
You know, I think back, Nikki, and like we've all been alongside this amazing journey with you, and it's really special. We were there alongside you catching your first marlin and your first swordfish. I mean, it's just amazing.
It's pretty cool, eh? Like, I sort of look back and I just can't really believe that this has all happened. Like, I really do pinch myself, especially when I look back over the years and I look back to the earlier episodes. I'm like, man, I just feel so blessed, you know? Like, that day that we got the marlin, I'd been trying for 3 years to catch a marlin, and, you know, Leighton and Jed took me out off Ahipara, and it was just such a special day. There had actually been some terrible weather the 2 days before, and it was the RADS tournament.
Yeah.
And, you know, the first morning all 24 boats went off Ahipara Beach, and they caught like a phenomenal amount of marlin, but then the weather kicked up and they couldn't actually fish for the next sort of day and a half. So we identified that as, oh my gosh, we need to hit it as soon as the weather turns good, and that was that Monday morning. So then we went out, and we didn't even go out early because of the tides. We went out at like 9:30, and we literally hooked up within 10 minutes, which is just a dream come true. And what a lot of you won't even know, some behind the scenes stuff, is that when we did the tackle tip, because everything happened so quickly, we actually had the marlin so quickly within 10 minutes. We had to go back and retro film other bits and pieces to make the whole episode work. So when you see the tackle tip for that episode, I think it was the tackle tip, there's actually a marlin in the boat, but you guys can't see it because it was framed out.
That's the benefit of catching your fish very early in the morning.
Exactly, yeah, we were in before midday. And I remember when I caught my first swordfish with Jed and his dad, we'd lost so many leading up to that point. Like, we'd probably lost about, I don't know, 15 or 20 swords. And that lasts like 5% when you get them to the side of the boat, and then you lose them because you've either got them and then they're too green or, you know, like, so anyway, so that day, Jed's dad, he taught us to just calm down, just relax, be patient, and after 3.5 hours, this huge swordfish just shy of 200 kilos, like just shy by like a kilo. And it was just like, oh my gosh, I just couldn't believe it. It was all my dreams came true that day.
It's very special.
Yeah.
Coming up after the break, we continue to share the good times in the final goodbye episode of Trade Zone Addicted to Fishing. This week is the final episode of Trade Zone Addicted to Fishing. And we're sharing some of the highlights, the lowlights, and some of the behind the scenes moments of the last 7 years. This show has seen some of the most down-to-earth, phenomenal fishermen, and it's been an absolute privilege to be part of this special journey. We've beach launched, we've rock fished, we've seen Mother Nature in all her glory.
So, what was your most memorable catch, Nikki? Or do I even have to ask?
Well, it's a kind of a tricky one to answer that, because I guess it would be like if you asked someone which one is their favourite children if they had like loads of children, you know. But I don't know. I mean, there's been some amazing catches, and each of them have been really special. But probably the standout one would have to be the 361 kilo broadie. That was like second drop, boom, hooked up, whale came in, you know, tried to obstruct the line, almost lost the fish, and then it launched out of the water and we saw the big shoulders. And we knew it was big. We put a photo up on Facebook actually, and someone said, how big do you think that is, Nikki? And I said, oh, it's definitely over 200. Man, I was wrong. It was a lot bigger than that. But and then to find out that it tipped the scales up to 361 kilos, and then to find out that it was a freaking world record, like heaviest broadbill caught by a female in history under IGFA, like, that blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. It was like the universe was just gifting us that day. It was such a special day.
Yeah. Wow, you have fished with some of the most skilled fishermen over the years.
Oh, don't I know it? Like, some of the people that we've had on the show, I just can't even believe. I remember being at Smart Marine one day, and I turned into like a child before Christmas, because in walked Steve Campbell, and I just remember being like, I had his book Blue Marlin Magic, and I was obsessed with it, and he's so skilled, like Kiwi living in Tonga that's caught thousands of blue marlin. And I went up to him and I was like, hi Steve, I'm Nikki, and he's like, oh, I know exactly who you are. I'm like, you know who I am? Oh my gosh. I was like, what are you doing in New Zealand? Do you want to come fish with me? And he's like, oh, well, I'm flying back home tomorrow, but why don't you come over to Vivau and we'll do an episode together? And I was like, that would make my life. Like, it was just so exciting. And having the opportunity to fish next to and absorb information and ask questions from some of the best that have shared their hard-earned knowledge, it really has been a dream come true.
We hit the water with Steve in Vivau, and it wasn't long before we got a warm welcome, with a double hookup of blue marlin, then a third marlin all before lunchtime. This was my first and second blue, and a trip that will never be forgotten. There have been so many other legends on the show, too many for me to name one by one. But there is something really special that I've noticed within all of them. Their passion for all things to do with the ocean, their ability to adapt to whatever the fish throw at them, and the burning hunger to never ever give up. I don't think I will ever find the words to truly express the gratitude that I feel to every single person who has been part of the show.
There's been some fish caught over the years, but there has been a fair share of losses too, hasn't there?
There have been more losses than anyone will know. Like, honestly, we've done some serious trips in the past that have never even made it to TV. Like, that's the thing about fishing shows. You probably only see part of what actually happens.
Yeah.
Like, we will do trips and we'll get nothing, and then it's all, just keep trying. Like, I remember one trip about 3 years ago. We towed the Extreme from here in Mangawhai all the way down to Waihao Bay in the middle of summer, and we were fishing with my friend Jo Holly, and we hooked up to a yellowfin, and she wound it in. We got this fish boat side. It was probably like a 30-kilo yellowfin.
Nice.
And then that was the point, as I had on the lead, I'm like, pass the gaff. And then we realised that we didn't actually have the tuna gaff, so we only had the marlin gaff, which the steel is too thick to pierce the skin of that fish. And so I swung it anyway, like, I'll just give it a go. And then literally the gaff pushed the fish off the hook and it swam free, and I was like, no.
It's heartbreaking.
It was gutting because we got nothing for 2 days after that, so it was like tow home 9 hours, nothing.
What about that bluefin tuna?
Oh my gosh. That was literally soul destroying. We hooked that fish at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and we've been fishing for 3 days in a row, getting up at 3 a.m. So it was like the very end of the day, and was on it for 6 hours on stand up, and the line pinged. I was on 15 kilo, and it pinged at like 10:30 at night.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Can you unclip me, George? Take this off.
That is so gutting. Gillian from Kitchen Chaos in Waihao Bay, she's so lovely. She knew that we were out fighting the fish because we were on the VHF, and she actually made dinner for all of us and left it outside the pub.
Aww.
So we got in at like midnight and there was food for us. She was so sweet.
That's so lovely.
I know.
Tackle tips and tactics, brought to you by Smart Marine.
One of the really cool new features that we've got in the 795 Game King is the Optimus 360. Now, this is 3 different systems all in one. Firstly, we've got this amazing steering package. This steering is like no other steering I've ever had on a boat before. It is feather light to touch and it's super easy. Secondly, I've got an autopilot, and we all know how that works. Thirdly, we've got what's driving the boat right now. We have the docking system. Now, this docking system is pretty cool. It's got a joystick, and you can maneuver the boat by twisting. You can pivot on the spot by twisting the joystick. You can go sideways with the boat, which maneuvers our 2 Honda 150 engines, inwards or outwards, and it takes complete control of the throttle and the helm. It's a very, very cool new system. We also have the ability to do position hold and spot lock. So that means that when we're out fishing, it doesn't matter if you're 600 metres deep for broadbill, whether you're on your favourite terakihi spot, you're fishing for snapper and shallows, doesn't matter where you are, as long as you don't have too much wind and current, it will hold you on the spot. It can hover within 2 metres. It's a pretty cool system that we now have in the new boat.
For all your fishing needs, head on down to your local Smart Marine store. After the break, we say the final goodbye on Trade Zone Addicted to Fishing. Well, this is it. The final episode after an incredible 7 years. This time has taught me that fishing doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter what age you are, what gender you are, or what race you are. The love for fishing and the ocean within us is the same. It's a love like no other, and it's so much more than just getting a feed. It's seeing Mother Nature in all her glory, having respect for it, and only taking what you need. It's that good energy that goes back around when you're on the boat or off the rocks and you're doing what you love. Catching fish is always the goal, but a day spent doing what you love is never a day wasted.
We can't forget the Kiwi classic, the snapper. I mean, nothing beats a good snapper, right?
Yeah.
There's been some snapper caught over the years on your show. What would you say your most memorable snapper memory would be?
Honestly, you're right, there's been so many to choose from, but one of the real standout ones wasn't even one that I caught, actually. It was one that this 16-year-old girl at the time, her name's Macca, she came up to me when I was fishing Taranaki. I was at the game fishing club and she said, "Hey Nick, can you please take me out and try and get me a 20-pound snapper? I've caught fish up to 18 or 19 pounds with my dad, but I just know if I go with you, I can get that 20-pounder." And I was like, part of me was like, oh my gosh, the pressure. But the other part of me was like, yeah, man, let's do this. So what we did was I said, okay, I'm going to come back down in a month's time when the snapper fishing will be going off. But I'd really like you to do one thing for me, Macca. And she said, anything, I'll do anything. I was like, okay. So I'd really love for you to visualise this fish. Every night before you go to sleep, spend 2 minutes just seeing the fish in your mind's eye. See the photo that you want to get at the end of the day. This is a creative visualization technique that like the All Blacks and a lot of Olympians, they do. And, you know, I believe that it works. I've done it with fish before myself. So she would visualize herself holding this massive fish, smiling but kind of struggling because it's so heavy. And we launched at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And, you know, we're fishing the incoming tide and the sun was going down and the fish was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And all of a sudden, the bait runner just went crack, zzz, and I was like, Macca, that's your fish. And then she like wound it in like a boss. And let's have a look at some of the footage from that episode. Fishing in Taranaki, this is going to be a good fish. You might need to start following it up around the front of the boat if you have to. Beautiful angling skills there, honey. Beautiful. Gosh, I wish that you at home could feel how this feels. Oh my gosh. Okay, what we're gonna do is walk backwards.
All good, Nick?
Got it. We got you a 20-pounder! Woo! That is your 20-pounder. That is more than 20 pounds. Oh my goodness me! Look at it! Oh my goodness, Macca, that is incredible. This fish is unbelievable. What would you like to do with it?
Oh, I'd like to put it on the wall, to be quite honest.
Fair enough. I would do the same. That is amazing.
So, this is it, Nicky. How do you feel?
I don't even know. I'm kind of a bit numb at the moment, to be honest. It's just phenomenal. Like, I actually feel really overwhelmed with gratitude for this entire thing. Like, you know, it's been 7 years of some amazing learning. You know, you guys have watched me grow. You've watched me put weight on and lose it again and catch fish and lose them too. And, you know, and there is no way that this could have happened, this entire show, without a lot of help. So I just want to say a really special thank you, first of all, to Trade Zone. You guys at Trade Zone, you guys are really special. You're like a family, and I feel so proud to have worked with you. And I want to thank ADOS for supporting me in my dreams in the beginning as well. And all my other sponsors, like the family at Extreme. You know, I love you guys so much. And all my other sponsors. The show literally could not happen without sponsors. It's 100% sponsor driven. Thank you to the amazing team at Prime and Sky TV for giving me a chance to live my passion. And thank you to the viewers, because without you guys watching and consistently tuning in all the time, I would not be able to live my dream. And then there's also my team. So my team, which is Red, my cameraman, Chris, my editor, and Dave, who used to work on the show. You guys have been phenomenal. And, you know, they say behind every great man is a great woman. Well, in my case, it's kind of the other way around. You guys have been amazing. And thank you to everyone that's had a part of the show. Thank you, Amanda. And, yeah, it's actually harder than what I thought it was. That's it from us at Trade Zone, Addicted to Fishing. We won't see you next week. Bye.
every day, everywhere, across New Zealand,
From the smallest town
to the biggest city.
We have the finest tools
and expert advice
for any job.
for any person.
Who are we?
Who are we?
Who are we?
We are Nelson, Hamilton,
Pukekohe.
Rangiora.
We are Trade Zone.
We are Trade Zone.
We are Trade Zone.
Trade Zone, proud to bring you Trade Zone Addicted to Fishing.
Check out our YouTube page for tips, tricks, and entire episodes of every season. And like us on Facebook to keep up to date with competitions and all your fishing news. Trade Zone Addicted to Fishing is proud to be with Extreme Boats, powered by Honda Marine. We tow it around in our custom-built GFAB trailer on the back of our Mercedes-Benz V6. When we're not out on the water, it's all stored away in our BuildLink kit set shed. Smart Marine supply us with our Shimano tackle, and we find the best fishing spots with our Ray Marine. We finish the job thanks to Trail Trades, and move in precision thanks to Seastar. We maintain our gear using Ting tools, and we keep up to date thanks to New Zealand Fishing News magazine, and it all keeps performing thanks to Trade Zone.